Oh, okay. So the joke. This very wealthy man dies. He gets to the gates of heaven where St. Peter is lugging this heavy, heavy duffel bag. And St. Peter's like, wow, I'm so curious to see what you grabbed. And the guy's like, well, I was super wealthy. So I just grabbed gold bricks. And St. Peter looks in and he goes, you brought pavement? Julie doesn't get it. The kids aren't going to get it.
See, I don't get jokes. Pavement?
Apparently heaven's paved with gold. So he brings gold bricks and St. Peter's like, oh, it's pavement.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't get it. Welcome. In our studio today, we have Dan Hammer, Christy Farber, and Lindsay Murphy.
Hello.
We have 3 excellent questions that we are going to answer, and they are, is there a church in heaven? Does everyone speak the same language in heaven? And lastly, are there Legos in heaven? So I'm going to go with the first question, which is there a church in heaven?
Is there church in heaven? Well, I don't think that there's church like a building, like we have here at MIPC in heaven, where we come once a week for worship and for Sunday school and to see all of our friends and whatever else we do. But I know that the people who make up the church will be together where God is. And I think that the praises and the justice and the presence of God that we experience when we gather as the church is what happens in heaven all the time. And I think we can experience some of that heaven when we come to church here on earth.
Thank you, Dan. I'm really missing all of the people. How about you guys?
I'm missing people.
Definitely
missing people.
Okay, our second question is, does everyone speak the same language in heaven?
I'll take this one. And I think the best answer I can take is probably from Pentecost, where we kind of talk about the birthday of the church. When people gathered together and the Holy Spirit came down, all of a sudden everyone was surprised because it seemed like everyone was speaking the same language, but at least they were understanding each other in whatever language they were speaking. So if I'm going to venture a guess, which is really all we're doing when we talk about heaven, is that we wouldn't lose our identity. Like we wouldn't lose the things about us that make us unique, like our languages or whatever it is that I bring that's mine, but we would actually be able to understand and see and know one another.
Well, that's excellent. And that's a relief, because when I go to Mexico on the house building trip, I'm doing a lot of charades. So that's a relief to know that I'll be maybe better able to understand people in heaven.
Maybe.
All right. And then Lindsay, this is from one of our first graders, and this is a super important question. Are there Legos in heaven?
Well, that is an excellent question. And I know a lot of people probably have investment in this answer, as I happen to know a lot of kids and adults who love Legos, including my son. And we believe in a God who delights in creation. And I think whoever invented Legos, God took part in that imagination and that invention. And I think that we will find things that bring us deep, deep joy in heaven. And I know Legos bring a lot of people, especially a lot of young people, deep joy. And so I want to believe, yes, that there will be Legos in heaven, and people will take great joy in building and creating just like our God does.
I have a follow-up question, Lindsay.
Yeah.
Will it hurt to step on a Lego in heaven?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I mean, I could go back and forth, because like pain, there is something about pain that serves us. Like, you pick up your foot so you don't break the Lego. You are more careful around Legos because you don't want to step on them. So
I'm going to go with, you can't hurt your feet and you can't break the Lego.
Okay, there you go.
Are they all made out of gold?
No, that'd be boring. You need them to be like colorful.
I wonder if the pastors have ever made Legos, and if so, what were they?
Yes, so I was way into Legos, and in my day, I used to just have a big bin of all the different blocks, and you'd build whatever you want. And I did find this one catalog that had directions for how to build this really complex house. And it took me forever, and I was so proud of myself when I finally finished this house.
Lindsay, Christy, do you guys build Legos at your house?
Grayson just got his first kit, and it was like a gas station and a tow truck and a mechanic station. And so I got to help him build that. But I'm learning to step back and let him actually do it versus I kind of want to do it. So, you know, we're working on sharing.
My parents have all the Legos from when my brothers and I were growing up. But Maya is always so sad that there's always just policemen and there's always firemen. And so she's got Elsa from Frozen. And she's got one other, I think it might be Batgirl. So Elsa and Batgirl go around to all the Lego people, and sometimes just their hair come off their head and go onto a police person. And so we do a lot of trying to set up a scene, but then try to make sure that all kinds of people can have different jobs at these places that they didn't originally when my brothers and I were playing with them.
Julie, maybe
All right.
admit that you've been playing with Legos this whole time.
I do have to admit that I have been reading this book while you've been talking. Okay, everyone, see you next week. Welcome to our studio today. In it, I gotta start over. Okay. Scratch.
Stand in.